Hey guys, Sean Manaher here with Book Marketing Tools, welcoming you to the third part of the blog tours in 2015, what you need to do in order to launch a blog tour, make it successful, and see the results and goals that you're looking for. So we've gone through a lot of content already. Today we're going to be covering another section of content for the blog tour, but as a quick recap, if you haven't checked out the first two videos, video one, we talked about having an amazing blog tour and starting with the right product. We talked about goals, and we talked about scheduling. Video number two, part two, we talked about blog tour numbers, how many blogs you should be reaching out towards, blog researching, what is the process and steps you need to do to research all these blogs so that you can find the right ones. And then finally, we talked about communication and materials. This was probably the longer of the videos that we'll have in this series. There was a lot of stuff to cover. I actually gave you a sample idea of what you might want to say to folks as you're getting started. So that's part one. Part two of blog tours, how to set up, how to start a blog tour in 2015. And we're going into part three. In part three, we're going to focus on just one area, and it's going to be content for blogs. That is, once you set up the blog tour, you know who you're going to be connecting with. Well, now you need to figure out, what are you going to write? What are you going to write in these blog tours, whether you have a 7-day blog tour that has 14 blogs, or you have a 14-day blog tour that has 28 blogs, whatever it might be, you're going to be producing a lot of content. So let's figure out what you're going to write. So in this video, we're going to be covering a few key areas. The first one is going to be principles. So overall, what are the principles behind the content that you're going to write and produce? And number two, we're going to be talking about blog tour content ideas. So to give you an idea of what you should be writing for your blog tours, and we're going to cover both of these right now. So under principles, we're going to be covering 4 areas. That is, creating unique content, making the content interesting and varied, visually appealing, and being prepared. So the first one, creating unique content for each blog. So each blog tour that you're going to have, that is a blog that you're going to be featured on, you want to make sure that the content is unique. It doesn't mean that you have to completely reinvent the wheel for each blog tour, but it does mean that you want to make sure that you're producing something that's going to be highly interesting and unique to the individual that is getting it, and also to the readers. You want to make sure that as they're walking through the blog tour with you and going to each of these sites that you're telling your fans and telling people to go to, that it's not going to be the same thing all the time. And that does take a little bit of work, a little bit of process, but as you get through this entire section today about content ideas, you'll see that you have plenty of content ideas that you can choose from in order to get things rolling. So that first section under principles, thinking about this, create unique content for each blog. The next part is make the content interesting and varied. As I made mention to it about making it unique, you want it to be then interesting and varied, so it's not the same content all the time. And so 6 things that you might want to consider making it interesting and varied would be completing the book, the process of completing the book, sharing what you worked through and what your thoughts and ideas were as you finished writing the book. The other might be talking about the characters. Write a blog about talking about the characters of the book, what it looked like and how they felt, how they came to be, what was your thinking behind the character development and who they were, and the backstory even. You might even want to write something about that you are talking about the story behind the story. Where did they come from? Where and why are they even in existence in your storyline? You can, if you're doing some nonfiction, you might want to talk about the subject matter. So if you're talking about, say, marketing, maybe talk about the principles of marketing and how it influenced your decision on writing the book about marketing or whatever that you wrote about for those nonfiction types. An additional, focusing deeper in a specific area or niche of expertise. So again, if you're in a nonfiction side, if you really understand, go down this marketing vein, if you really understand Facebook marketing, and then even deeper still, you understand Facebook ads and within Facebook marketing, then why not write a blog post for your blog tour that is very niche specific around helping people to understand how they can use Facebook ads in order to do Facebook marketing for the marketing book that you wrote on probably about Facebook. So going through that whole niche down process, that'll really allow you to pull out that areas of expertise that you know and really showcase your skills. The next thing would be write something about the blog tour. Why not talk about it? Why not talk about how you got to that point of pulling the trigger and making the decision that you're going to be doing a blog tour? So those are 6 areas or ideas that you could use in order to create interesting and varied content. The next thing of principles for the content that you're going to be producing for these blogs is visually appealing. We know that visual works better than just text. And so that may be even the reason why you're watching this video, because visual really connects with people more so than text does. And why not use that to your advantage when you're writing and doing the blog tour? So if you're writing written content, well, why not get images created? If you don't do your own designing, why not get images created going on Fiverr or some other place to really make sure that your content pops and is very interesting? Along that lines, why not use video? Why not use something like that so that people can connect with your blog at a different level? The final thing is that you have the option of making it visually appealing by doing book trailers, which are very easy and affordable to do these days, more so than they were just a few years ago. And within all of this, by making the content visually appealing and by creating these assets, you're able to use that across the board, not only on your own website, on these blog tours, but also on social media. And that is one of the things that we're going to be covering in the next video, talking about social media and all the different platforms that you can use and how you can use them effectively for your blog tour. So stay tuned for that. But there you go. For visual appealing, make sure that you do it. Make sure that you're using something that's visually interesting to folks. Finally, in this section of principles, be prepared. So you'll want to make sure that in the content that you're writing, that you're always being prepared for the process. If you're writing 7, 14, 28, 42, however many blog posts for all of these locations, you want to make sure that you have your schedule in line and you start before, let me say that again, you start this before the blog tour starts. Don't wait on day 1 to write day 1 content. Make sure you have your pipeline organized and ready to go. So that's the principles within writing content for your blogs, these blog tours that you're going to be focused on, creating unique content for each blog, making the content interesting and varied, make it visually appealing, and being prepared. So the next section we're talking about is the blog tour content ideas. So we're going to go a little bit deeper into some other ideas that you might want to use in order to create this blog tour content. 5 areas that we're going to be talking about are review of a book, interviews with bloggers, character responses, and book reading. So the first one is review of book by the blogger. So why not, when you're looking to get content written, well, why not ask the blogger that you're going to be featured on to review your book? You might want to go through the process of gifting them the book either through Amazon or sending them the PDF, but ultimately you want them to review your book so it's in their own words what that book is all about, and then that will connect to their readers more so it is not you trying to promote your book, but is the person, that blogger, saying, I like this book and these are the reasons why I like the book. The good thing is that that can be then repurposed on your blog. It can be on your website blog, or it can be also put on Amazon or Goodreads so that you get some additional social proof on those platforms as well. Another idea for writing or having content for this blog tour is the interview with the blogger. That is creating a Q&A where they interview you, so maybe utilizing either through a podcast or a Google Plus Hangout or a Skype interview, whatever it may be, a Q&A that allows them to interview you about the book. You might want to have questions prepared. Either you can prepare them or ask them to prepare them. That would allow you to have a good piece of content that is more engaging than just a one-way communication where somebody sees either a video or a text content or something that's just pushed one way. That interview and engagement that way can be very interesting to people that are listening. And this allows you, this idea with an interview with a blogger allows you to use other mediums, like I had mentioned, the audio and the video. Using podcasts are really big. We're going to talk about that in the next video as well. So the next one is character response. This allows you to take, say, a main character, a sub-character, or whoever in your book, and gives the blogger the opportunity to have a response, a text response or video response, however you want to do it, of the character answering questions from their audience. So practically, this would look like the individual going and emailing their list, letting them know that they're going to interview as the author. And if they're familiar with the characters of the book, let them know that the characters are going to answer whatever questions might come to be. The next thing would be to do a book reading. The nice way in which book readings are done now today is you can easily do it through video, just like I'm doing this video today. And you simply do a book reading. Obviously, you have to pretend a little bit, maybe even have a little bit of a visualization that you have lots of people in front of you so that you can make sure that you're excited and animated about the book that you're reading, your book. But also another great way to make that feel like you're having an audience is to do a Google Plus Hangout live event. These are great ways in which you can utilize and leverage a social media platform like Google Plus in order to not only build an audience, but also create that audience dynamic right in your video. So people can actually be there live commenting and you can answer questions like that. So doing a book reading, it's a nice replacement of the old time book readings where you'd actually go to a library, which is still viable and you can do that. It's just more cost effective and saves you from having to travel all over the place in order to do the book reading. So that's another option for you. So that's the 4 areas of the blog tour content ideas that are available to you to try out. Review the book, interview with blogger, character responses, book readings. There may be any number of other ideas, but as you can see with the initial list that I talked about within the principles, and then also the information shared under the blog tour content ideas, there is a ton of ideas for your blog tours that you could and might want to consider using. So that's everything for today. We covered just a couple of things. And again, if you can share with me your comments, your thoughts and ideas on this style of your email Tuesday tips with book marketing tools, that would be really appreciated. And we'll see you on the next video where again, we're going to be talking about